Malaysia's parliament has voted to remove the country's mandatory death penalty, potentially sparing more than 1,300 prisoners on death row. The country has had a moratorium on executions since 2018, but the abolition now removes the death penalty as the mandatory sentence for 11 serious crimes, including murder and terrorism. Judges have retained discretion to impose capital punishment in exceptional cases. Lawmakers said, but for the most serious crimes, the courts will now favor life imprisonment sentences of up to 40 years or corporal punishment such as caning. Speaking in Parliament on Monday, Malaysia's Deputy Law Minister said capital punishment has not brought the results it was intended to bring. The reform still needs to clear country's upper house, but it is widely expected to pass. The new laws will apply retrospectively, allowing those on death row 90 days to seek a review of their sentences. There are currently 1,341 such prisoners in the country. Sri Lanka's tourism industry is on the rise, with island nation welcoming a growing number of visitors from around the world. India is playing an important role in this trend, with increasing numbers of Indian tourists exploring Sri Lanka's diverse landscapes, cultures, and heritage sites. According to the Sri Lankan Tourism Department Authority, over 1.25 lakh tourist arrivals have been recorded in March 2023 in comparison to the 1.06 lakh reported in March 2022. Further, the tourist arrivals for the month of March from India jumped 38% to about 19,000 compared to February, when around 13,700 Indian tourists had visited the island. The agency's data reveals that India is now the second largest source market for Sri Lanka, following Russia for the year 2023. Experts attribute this growth to the improving relations between India and Sri Lanka, as well as increasing availability of direct flights between two countries. The Alliance Air announced the launch of new direct flights between Chennai and Jaffna in December last year, further boosting the connectivity between the two nations. Similarly, Vistara, a joint venture between Tata Sons and Singapore Airlines, started direct flights between Colombo and Mumbai from March this year. In a surprise move, OPEC members including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iraq, Kuwait and Algeria have announced voluntary oil production cuts exceeding 1 million barrels per day from May until the end of the year. They have described it as a precautionary measures aimed at supporting the stability of oil market. The groups of 23 oil producing countries, which slashed its collective output by 2 million barrels per day last year, is expected to stick to the agreed production levels at its upcoming virtual meeting. In France, Parisians have voted to ban rental electric scooters in the city. Official results showed that almost 90% of the votes cast favored a ban the battery powered devices. The referendum was called in response to a rising number of people being injured and killed on e-scooters in the French capital. Paris was a pioneer when it introduced e-scooters in 2018 as the city's authorities sought to promote non-polluting forms of urban transport. Last year, 3 people died and 459 were injured in e-scooter accidents in Paris. However, operators of e-scooters argued the vehicles made up a small proportion of overall traffic accidents in the city. Paris has almost 15,000 e-scooters across its streets, operated by the companies. On 3rd April 1968, At an event for Memphis sanitation workers strike, American civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his mountaintop speech. The following day, he was assassinated. On April 6, 1917, the United States declared war on Germany, thus entering the World War I. 3 years after the conflict began in Europe. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the ban on Afghan women working with the UN in Afghan's Nangarhar province. Guterres stressed that the prohibition on female workers would undermine the ability to deliver life-saving aid to the most needful people of Afghanistan. UN expressed serious concerns after Afghan female UN staff were on Tuesday banned from reporting to work in the eastern province of Afghanistan. The UN warned the Taliban that the life saving aid would be at risk without female staff. The Taliban, since it came to power in Afghanistan in August 2021, has imposed bans on women and girls, preventing them from education and employment. The Taliban first banned girls from going to school beyond 6th grade. In December 2022, a decree prohibited Afghan women from higher education and working with national and international NGOs. In Balochistan, a drastic rise in enforced disappearance and extrajudicial killing was recorded throughout the year. According to Human Rights Council of Balochistan, HRCB, the year 2022 was full of misery and fear for people of Balochistan as Pakistani government and military continue to abuse human rights in a multitude of ways. The Human Rights Council of Balochistan is a non-profit group based in Balochistan, Sweden and France. The group works to shed light on the human rights situation in Balochistan. According to HRCB, the worsening plight of families of enforced disappearance continued as the bodies of their loved ones continue to appear in desolated areas despite continuous protests and demonstrations and assurance from the government. The cruel onslaught against religious minorities continues while the state remains a silent spectator without taking action to curb terrorism. It further said that the vicious crackdowns against dissenting voices and framing people in fake cases turned Balochistan into a much darker and more unstable place. US President Joe Biden has welcomed Finland becoming a member of NATO. In a tweet, he said, "It is a historic day as Finland's addition to the alliance will make it stronger than ever." He further said that he looks forward to welcoming Sweden as a NATO ally as soon as possible. Finland joined NATO and became the 31st member of the military alliance. Finland's membership became official when its foreign minister handed over documents completing its accession process to US Secretary of State Antony Blinken at Brussels. The US State Department is the repository of NATO tests concerning membership. However, Russia has said that it would be forced to take countermeasures to ensure its security. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called the move to include Finland into NATO an encroachment on Russia's security. He alleged that the structure of NATO is hostile towards Russia. TikTok has been fined £12.7 million for illegally processing the data of 1.4 million children under the age of 13. According to Britain's Information Commissioner's Office, the video sharing site used the data of children of this age without parental consent. The ICO said many were able to access the site despite TikTok setting 13 as the minimum age to create an account. It said that children's data may have been used to track and profile them and potentially present them with harmful or inappropriate content. Meanwhile, a TikTok spokesperson said they disagree with ICO's decision because their 40,000 strong safety team works round the clock to help keep the platform safe for their community. The penalty comes amid calls for the app to be banned in US over national security concerns and after administrations in the US, UK and several other countries prohibited the app from government issued devices. On 3rd April 1973, Martin Cooper made the first ever cell phone call on the streets of New York. His invention, a brick sized device, became the first cell phone available to the general public. Martin Cooper is an American engineer. He is a pioneer in the wireless communications industry, especially in radio spectrum management, with 11 patents in the field. High inflation remained highest concerns for the people of Bangladesh in 2022, says United Nations country team UNCT. Results released on Tuesday. After staying below 6% for the past several years, it peaked at 9.5% in August last year. Fuel prices rose sharply and gas prices surged nearly 200% during the year, says the report. Despite these challenges, the GDP growth rate for 2021-22 exceeded 7%, which indicates a robust recovery after COVID-19 pandemic. The report points out the major transport infrastructure projects like the Metro Rail and Patma Bridge were inaugurated, which have significant implications for the capital city Dhaka and the economy of Bangladesh, respectively. On the front of Sustainable Development Goals, Bangladesh achieved a rank of 104 among 163 countries. Its country scores of 64.2 was lower compared to the regional average of 65.9. Among Sustainable Development Goals, Bangladesh marked an improvement in poverty reduction, quality education, responsible consumption and production, and climate protection. The report says that the LDC graduation is high among government's priorities. Significant efforts are being made to ensure a smooth transition. However, a key concern is the loss of international support measures, including loss of access to concessional terms on loans and tariff, and quota free access to key export markets. Fierce fighting between Myanmar military and armed ethnic rebels has forced around 5,000 people, many of them women and children, flee across the country's border into Thailand this week, officials told media. The clashes broke out when rebels in the southern Karen state attacked a military border guard outpost, according to reports in Thailand's English newspaper. Myanmar's military government, which overthrew an elected government in 2021 coup, is grappling with armed insurgencies in large areas of the country and has faced global condemnation for its lethal crackdown on dissent and pro-democracy movements. About these people, they had crossed into Thailand's Tak province and taken refuge in temporary shelters set up by local residents, according to Thai officials and an aid worker. Thailand said its air force was monitoring the situation and was ready to send patrol flights if Thai airspace is violated.